you're better off.
That's so cool. It's so
true.
Cool.
It's true.
So you used to teach courses in bees?
Yeah, when I was still a youth. Yeah, no, it was fun. It was really great. But the classes were mostly women. So I used to tell them, this is the part that you're going to enjoy. At the end of the season, you'll see all those drones outside of the hive.
Yeah.
And have all been kicked out by the bees. You're just a surplus. All you do is eat. You're out of here.
Yeah, we saw that at the farm where I live in the city, and my boyfriend, we have 2 acres outside the city in Calgary.
Oh, in Calgary?
Yeah, I'm from Alberta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we have 2 acres. We do veggie farming, and we have an acre of hemp, and we're doing research and development on hemp grain and fiber.
That'd be a place hemp over here.
Oh, yeah.
Because the land is not that rich, but hemp doesn't require.
Yeah.
I used to grow hemp, and it was a little better than making clothes.
Yeah. Yeah, so when did you get the land?
1963. That's when I bought this land.
And do you know much about like the stone walls and the big rocks there's like big rocks, right, as you come in the driveway, right?
That used to be the driveway.
That was the driveway.
That used to be the
Go
hill,
up.
and then we bypassed it, and that was a big Fiat Kartoffel because every time in the wintertime you had to go up the hill and then down the hill. So when I was out west, and I heard the story, is when my brother, because I asked my brother, I said, "Can you get somebody to straighten out the road and go straight through?" But of course it was all covered with wonderful little choke cherries and stuff like that. And my mother was staying here, and with a long gray hair, because that's what before she was ready for the day. And she started running up the laneway, stop, because she was very upset about the fact that all these little trees were being plowed down by a bulldozer. So here the guy stopped, and my brother, who lives over there, used to live over there, he came up and he said, "What's going on here?" And I said, "Well, this lady, she doesn't want us to keep going." And he said, "Hello, lady." He said, "Just keep working, and if she's in your way, plow her down in the hill."
So you had a road going up, was it up to that?
No, there's the same laneway that you came up.
Okay.
Okay, but then you saw the big rocks, right?
Yeah.
That used to be the retaining wall for that particular road.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. But the rocks that you should be interested in is the one from the ice house.
Yeah, I haven't even gone
Oh.
over there yet. Tell me about the ice house.
The ice house, when we came, the box and the sawdust of the ice was still there.
Whoa.
Because they used to put all that ice in there, and then up until July, they would still have frozen ice in there for the milk and the cream.
And for a whole bunch of dairy farmers?
No, just for here.
Just for here?
Yeah. I used to have 7 buildings here, but they all burned down.
Was there a fire, a natural fire that came through, or?
No, it was a goat
A goat?
pulled out an electric wire.
Oh.
No, I don't blame the goat, I blame myself for putting the wire in the wrong place.
Yeah.
But it was quite a trip from town. I worked for the Department of Environment, and I got a phone call. Your place is on fire. So I jumped in my car, hardly any gas, so I had to get gas, and then I stopped the police officer. I said, "Can you give me an escort home? My place is on fire." And I said, "I can't do that." He said, "But what about if I get stopped?" He said, "Tell him that I told you to go like hell." So when I came here, the fire trucks were there and a whole bunch of people, and it was like the Red Sea just parted. And there I was with my suit, going through all these people with solemn faces, and they were just about ready to pull out the fire truck to save a little building at the end. And I said, "Just stay here." "No, we can save it." I said, "No." Next thing you know, house is on fire. And I would have lost the house if the truck had been there.
Or was it this house?
No, but all these buildings, there were 7 altogether.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. And everything was blazing. The ice house, the garage, this house, and the only thing that didn't burn was the dynamite.
Oh my goodness.
I had a case of dynamite in there. But I didn't tell anybody. Because dynamite doesn't explode with fire, it only explodes with the rain.
Oh, okay.
But most people don't know that. Yep. Okay, so that's, and then in 1963 that I bought this place. First we bought my brother's place, but my brother and I bought the farm first. Then this came for sale, and then I bought this with the government loan. And then another farm came for sale down the road, and then there was another piece of property that was willed to my nephew. And then there was a farm across the road, McDonald's, that my sister-in-law and her friend bought. So altogether we must have about 1,000 acres, which is a fair amount.
That's a lot, for sure.
You know, that's nearly 2 sections.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So what drew you to this place to begin with? Why did you choose this place?
Oh, it was just a coincidence. My mother had found a friend, and he was renting this place for the summertime. And so we went up with a couple of girlfriends, and we broke into that house, and we went home and said, we're buying a farm. Boom. And my father said, oh. He said, what about your studies? And my brother was studying medicine at the time. He said, farming is more interesting. Yeah. Less money, more work. But still, it's, of course you have to be everybody. You have to be a doctor, you have to be a mechanic, you have to be a welder, you have to be a carpenter, you have to be a bulldozer driver, you have to be optimistic. For sure. Next.
Yeah. What was your primary source of income to start with?
Working for the government.
And then on the land, what was your first yield?
Cows.
And then what?
Cows, and then sheep.
Was it dairy or?
No, dairy. We had one cow.
Oh, okay.
And we milked that, we made all our own cheese and butter and stuff like that. But no, it was like hippie time. But I would never suggest to do it that way, ever. When you buy a farm, you fix your fences. Once your fences are fixed, you work on and at the same time work the land, and then buy your animals. And not the other way around, what we did. So we used to chase cows around and sheep around and pigs around. We had one pig living on top of the mountain called Gilga. Gilga the pig. And it finally came down in the fall, a belly full of acorns, and came back, got the boar going, and she had a whole bunch of piglets. And the piglets were in the previous barn, where we had a big horse that would use to pull the logs out of the bush. And it was the most beautiful thing, because the little piglets, he would run free through the whole barn. And you'd see this horse, and he would twist his head, and he'd look, and then he'd very, very careful to lift up his foot, and then the other foot, so he wouldn't step on the toes of the little pig. So then we had to get rid of that pig, because pigs are a bit of a nuisance. And in the actual fact, I had 2 pigs living in the basement, the survivors of the fire, Dr. Johnny and Dr. Johnny, and who was the other one? Anyway, they made a hell of a mess in the basement. So I gave them away under the condition they were not to be slaughtered for the first year. That was the condition. Because I loved.
Yeah. At least let them have a year.
1 year of life. Yeah. So that was fun.
And then you built all these vegetable beds?
Yeah.
These raised beds?
Well, I used this whole thing was one garden.
Okay.
Complete, very fertile, and wall-to-wall garden. But that's pretty inefficient. It's a lot of work. And with these boxes, I mean, it's so simple, because you save your pack, and you can take, you put carton or newspaper at the bottom, and then you put chips on top of that, and then you put the earth. You only need this much earth for that, and the roots will go right into it. It's a constant supply of nitrogen, right? When stuff breaks down in the, wood chips.
Yeah, we call it hugelculture. Hugelculture.
Hugelculture.
Yeah.
I don't know the term.
Yeah, that's basically the same thing. You take big chunks of wood, big cuts of wood, throw it in the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
right.
then it slowly decomposes over time.
Right, then it becomes.
And then you just put a little bit of soil. You don't have to fill the whole
No,
box.
you don't know. You don't have that much. No.
So then you had pasture kind of
and then
animals.
the pasture and the sheep used to be here until they, when it was too hot, they would go into the bush and they'd all defecate near the trees, and then the trees would die because animals in the bush is not a good plan, because trees can't deal with that much manure so close to the base. It burns them up. And so there's a whole bunch of fields over there, and then this field was completely filled with wheat. And we had the same pig, and we always found this pig in that wheat field. And I couldn't figure out how the hell it got in there, because it was electrified. It was an electric fence. Until one day, I heard this screaming of the pig, and I watched this pig, and it went up to the electric fence, and then walked back, turned around, and started running like crazy, screaming its head off, and went right underneath the fence so it wouldn't get a shock, and then she would just settle down in the grain field and start nosing away.
She'd just take the hit and give it.
Well, she wouldn't even feel anything, because it was fast, right? So,
learned how to evade the shock. That's a smart pig.
Smart pig.
Well, they say their genes are so close, right?
No, the pigs are the most, like pigs, elephants, dolphins, killer whales. I think that most animals are more smarter than we are somehow. They've got a better approach to life than we do, for sure.
So when you were doing the wheat, and did you have like mills for the grain to make flour? And
we had oats, which we would bring to the mill to clean it, and then we would pick it up, 100-pound bags. And it was nothing. They just stood there, put it on the boat.
Throw it over their shoulder.
No, it's amazing. But then, the laws changed, and you had to, it couldn't be more than 55 pounds. So, and then all these trees, all these jack pines, here and at the lake, they were all planted by General Kozewski. And General Kozewski was a refugee from after the war from Poland. And he bought this farm for, I think, $3,000, and planted all these jack pines.
Wow.
But jack pines are not really, it's a kind of a newspaper tree. And but also a bunch of tamaracks down at the lake, and they're like old growth now.
Beautiful.
So, and he financed this place by his relatives in Poland sending a tourist doll that people used to buy. And inside of this tourist doll are all the family jewels. So it came here, and they, after that, once it arrived, they got another letter and said, "Don't throw this away, check the belly of the doll." And there was all this gold.
Wow.
And stuff like that. So that's how we came.
Amazing.
And he became a what do you call these guys in the government?
Draft dodger?
No, no, this was after the war. He was an older man. A commissioner.
Oh, okay.
And I always look at these highly educated people that are driving taxis, and doctors driving taxis and cleaning the streets. It seems such a waste. And what else?
And so you planted the orchard, or was it
No,
here?
no,
It was here already?
We planted only these things. There was one orchard over there, right next to the barn, that gave us good apples.
Okay.
But these are trees.
Yeah.
Underneath each tree is an animal.
Really?
Yeah. So these are our pet Oh, thank you.
But they're fruit bearing.
No, they're
Thank you.
well, yeah, you can make jelly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Like crab apple.
crab apples. Beautiful.
Did you
So
know
this-
that each one of these trees is one of their pets?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
What is
Except for
that?
that one. That's a fella, and it kept dying. It took 3 years for that tree to be replaced.
Really?
Every year died,
Wow.
which was kind of fun because it was a good friend of mine, and his ashes were there, and then we put the tree down, and his widow said, why are you escaping away at the base of the tree? I said, your husband had gold teeth. Maybe. Yeah, so this was a cat. That's Peter. That is our favorite dog, Pie. And that's another one. And there's another one. There's a whole bunch.
Hmm.
So whenever we need another tree, we invite people to bury their animals over here, and then we get a guaranteed tree. It's a cheap way of doing it.
It's a beautiful idea.
Yeah, for sure. And it's nice. Too.
Memorial garden orchard.
Yeah, no, it's really nice. It's
How about the spring down there? I haven't gone down the land yet to see up to the waterfront or anything like
Wonderful
that. But
spring.
what can you tell me about the trails in the spring?
It was a spring, or it is a spring, but I dug. I had a backhoe building 3 ponds, so it goes from pond to pond to pond,
Beautiful.
and that is now a fantastic place for frogs and salamanders. I mean, it's like a special ecosystem.
Yeah.
I never go there. Right?
But the ponds are still there?
The ponds are still there.
Amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they haven't slipped in.
Wow.
So that goes all the way down, and then when I was digging it, I noticed that all that stuff was tiled with clay tiles.
Oh.
No, just not the clay tiles that long.
What was tiled? Sorry.
The ground.
The ground.
Yeah.
Okay, so
To
they
keep-
have a bathhouse over there.
Yeah, so that people could plow the land because it was too wet,
Oh.
and they were
okay.
still functioning.
Wow.
Amazing.
Wow.
So that they sunk a little bit. It's like bulbs, right? You could put in a bulb in the ground, and then next year it's a little deeper, and then so that you can get in the ground not so deep it doesn't grow.
What's that?
Did you know that?
No.
No. Bulbs they keep on going down for some reason. They don't stay at the same place. It takes little bit by little bit. They go deeper and deeper.
Kind of, it makes sense, right? Like
Yeah.
the mycelia, and everything's growing down, right? And it's growing farther into the earth all the time. So why wouldn't it?
That's right. And maybe they're looking for more nutrients.
Yeah.
The one thing that I don't know too much about is the relationship of the mother tree in the forest with the roots. That they're all interconnected, and that is one mother tree is responsible for the well-being.
Yeah.
And my sister has a book on that. I really have to read it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, when you read stuff like that, people think you're smart. Talk about it.
Yeah, no, and it's true. Like the forest takes care, they all take care of each other, and even in between species,
Like the live species, animals.
in between different tree species.
Oh yes, indeed.
They
yeah.
can tell each other, "Hey, I
Yeah.
need more of this."
That's exactly.
Oh, I've got more of this, and they say,
No, it's fascinating. Yeah. And it's nice to read about it because everybody's smart nowadays because all you do is go to Google and then you have the answer. It's true.
Wow.
And then you want to ask me a story about the bees.
Yeah, tell me about the
Okay,
bees.
there we go. So my introduction to bees was in Switzerland after the war. My brother and I were sent after the war to Switzerland to get away from the onslaught of the damage of the Netherlands. And so we went to a private house, but we were too crazy, so we went to a boarding school. And one day these Swiss kids, they said, "Look at those boxes." And so I looked at them and they threw stones at them, and I ended up in the hospital with all my hair shaven and face like that.
Whoa.
That was my introduction to beekeeping. And I've been with bees all my life. In Tasmania, I worked with the beekeeper, When I came here, the first thing I did was get a bunch of hives, and I had a whole row over there, and then I had a bunch over there, and then ended up with 300 colonies.
Wow.
And yeah, that's and then then my boys took over.
And the bees are still here.
No, the bees are not here.
There's lots of bees here.
Not enough. Not enough. All these hives that you see over there are all dead.
Yeah, they're all dead. I'm just saying wild.
Oh
The
yeah.
native bees, there's lots.
Yeah, but again, with the spraying, at least you can save your honeybees. You can save them by, if the government tells you we're going to spray for spruce budworm, and then you can lock up your bees, and but that doesn't. You can save your bees, but the wild pollinators, they're not being locked up, so they're the ones that get killed, and they're more important as pollinators, apart from monoculture. There's no way. That's okay. Don't get nervous with it.
Oh, it just went right to my ear.
I'll save you.
Thank you. Were they spraying from the air? Is that what you're saying?
Well, they do.
Yeah.
They do. And
They're spraying.
And then they, I lost a whole bunch of bees in Shawville because of that. I'll tell you an interesting story. That one day when I was working in Shawville in one yard, all of a sudden, all the bees, the whole sky was black with bees, and they all came to the hives,
Wow.
bearding it up because they couldn't make it in time. And what was happening was an eclipse of the sun.
Wow.
That's incredible.
So I found it so incredible. And I had the same thing happening when I was working in the Arctic. And I said to the student, I said, look at it, there's a shadow here. Right in the middle of the glacier. One is bright and one is dark. It was the same thing. It was an eclipse of the sun. So you had sun on one side and no sun on the other. It was the most remarkable thing. It was just, and when 2 years ago they had a big eclipse somewhere, and I wanted to find somebody to film this mass of bees coming to that would make a wonderful little flick.
Wow.
I mean, you could even make money with a TikTok or something like that.
On April 19th, there's another
Yeah?
Oh,
solar
yeah.
eclipse coming.
That's right.
Really?
Yeah.
Find out where it is. See if you can find a bunch of beekeepers. Go there with that machine and film it, because I'd love to see that again.
Wow. Wow.
And you have to be there at the right time. 19th of what month?
I think it's
Of
April
April,
19th.
yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
Wow.
It's within the next month that there's a
A
full
total.
Yeah.
total solar eclipse, and it's the first one's 2013, I think, was the last one.
Wow.
Astrologically, where it was like in a certain sign or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
Huh.
Yeah, so, and then there is this house that we had an outhouse, and we had a pump, and we had a big wood stove in the basement. And once it got fired up, the heat was so intense, that if we had Marilyn Monroe over here to stand over the grill, it would have a wonderful thing. It was like an amazing, all that hot air coming out. And I was visualizing Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
What better thought can you have? Did Jay prune the tree?
Yeah, he did it. Yeah. He did
Wonderful.
It. Yeah.
A little bit more in the middle. There's a bit too much there. Yeah, he just topped it all off.
Yeah. What do you think?
Oh,
Yeah?
It's good, but the thing is, tree is not something that you top from the top. You've got to make room inside of you want all the sunshine inside.
Right,
You
right.
don't want each branch overlapping the other one.
Right.
Because this one is a tree that is, you won't even know that it's a tree. It's like a bride. Like a bride, brides when they wear this thing.
When it's full of flowers,
Oh.
you're saying, yeah.
It's just unbelievable. It's incredible. All these trees. It's like You sit here and you just enjoy.
Oh,
Yeah.
can't imagine.
And if you pick some of these twigs, they'll bloom in the house.
Right.
Yeah.
You showed me last
Yeah.
week, right? Yeah.
As with the tamarack.
Yeah.
Most beautiful little foliage that comes out. You know, you bring the spring in the house.
Hmm.